Morning, Sandhya. Good evening to all the participants here on this Zoom platform or who has joined through YouTube channel. So glad to have Sandhya with us. So when sister shared her name and profile, I have done some research and glad to share that she is a wellness advocate, a compassionate leader with a commitment to support families in navigating autism. This is really required. So I have seen many parents struggling with their autism children and all, and addressing mental and emotional challenges and creating a positive, meaningful change in the community. This is what we always insist on. So wherever you are, as an alumna or a student of Maris Stella, so bring that meaningful change in the communities wherever we live for the well-being of millions of users worldwide. Glad to know that Sandhya, through your platforms, OptimFive, the balance zone, you are cultivating resilience through evidence-based strategies. I really like this word when I saw your website, that evidence-based strategies. This is how you can convince people. So joining this webinar itself shows our students interest, our faculty interest in starting a balanced mind journey. This is important. Balanced mind is important. And we all are laying a foundation for real world success through this balanced mind. So hope this webinar will help us all in recognizing common mental health and lifestyle challenges in college life as well as in career, and adopting good practices required for developing a balanced mindset for achieving a fulfilling and productive life. So I advise you all to note down all the practical applications that Sanjay is going to suggest or provide us with for sustainable growth and real world achievement and a sustainable success. So don't forget to reserve your questions for the Q&A session. So that's expecting you all to make this webinar an interactive session. That is all expected from all of you. Thank you. Thank you, sister.
Thank you, Indira ma'am, for that personal touch and setting the tone for this important, very precious webinar by our dear alumni. I request the audience to kindly mute your audios. And if anyone is together opened Zoom as well as the YouTube, when we speak, it will echo. I request you all to please mute the audios and open the videos, keep the videos on. Please follow. From this semester onwards, we are blessed with a new and a dynamic principal, Dr. Sister Inyas Emma. I cordially invite Sister to share her greetings.
Thank you, Sister Lavanya. A very good evening and good morning to one and all. It gives me great joy to welcome each of you to today's webinar on Balanced Mind Journey, your foundation for real-world success. I am delighted to see our students and staff come together for a session that holds great relevance for our academic community. In today's fast-paced world, the pressures of academics, social expectations, digital overload, and personal responsibilities often weigh heavily on young minds. As an institution committed to holistic education, we believe that nurturing emotional resilience, self-awareness, and mental well-being is just as important as academic achievement. This webinar is a step in that direction towards creating a healthy, supportive, and compassionate campus environment. We are truly honored to have with us our alumna, Ms. Sandhya. We are happy to have you with us. With your rich experience and evidence-based approaches to emotional regulation, digital habits, and mental wellness, I am sure you will guide us on how to cultivate balanced and inner strength. I encourage all the participants to listen with an open mind, engage actively, and reflect deeply. Let us use this opportunity not only to understand ourselves better, but also to support one another with empathy and care. Once again, I warmly welcome you all. May this session empower us to move forward with purpose and a balanced mind. Thank you, and I wish you a fruitful webinar. God blesses.
Thank you, Sister Inasia, for your inspiring words. To introduce our distinguished resource person, Ms. Sandhya Kandru, I invite Santa Kumari from Department of Chemistry.
Sister, good evening. Am I audible, sister?
Yes, yes.
Good evening to one and all. It's my pleasure to introduce a truly inspiring alumna of Maris Stella College, Mrs. Sandhya Kandru, joining us all the way from the USA. Sandhya is a dynamic senior product leader, founder, and global wellness advocate whose work has touched thousands of lives. With over a decade of experience creating AI powered, human centered digital solutions across health tech, finance, and the automotive sectors. She is known for her visionary approach and compassionate leadership. She is the founder of OptimFive, a groundbreaking caregiver support platform for families navigating autism, neurodevelopmental challenges, and chronic health needs. She's currently bringing this platform to India by localizing it in Telugu, making support accessible and culturally rooted for our communities. She also founded the Balanced Zone, where she blends neuroscience, psychology, and wellness coaching to help people build resilience, healthier habits, and emotional clarity. Sandhya holds a master's in neuroscience and psychology from King's College London and is trained Duke Health and Wellness coach. And we are especially proud that her journey began right here at Maris Stella College. Please join me in warmly welcoming our distinguished resource person, Mrs. Sandhya Kandru.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Santa, for that beautiful introduction. And
Thank
now
you,
with
sister.
great joy, yeah. And now with great joy, we move to the heart of today's program. That's the webinar online session by Miss Sandhya Kandru. Ma'am, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for all this warm welcome. And I'm really honored to be here today. So, good evening to you, everyone. It's as we speak, going through this, my journey, memory journey, I was thinking about like my days at Maris Stella, which formed me as who I am today. So, with that, I will kickstart the conversation. And so, first of all, I want to start by acknowledging something important. By showing up here today, I think you've already done something brave because let's be honest, talking about mental health, especially in our culture, isn't easy. We are taught to push through, to be strong, and to never admit we are struggling. So, thank you for being here. Your presence tells me that you're ready for something different. And today we are going on a journey together. This is not a lecture, a journey, the balanced mind journey. Because balance isn't something you achieve once and keep it forever. It's something you practice daily, especially when life gets overwhelming, which is our current day scenario. So by the end of today, you'll walk away with practical, science backed tools you can use tomorrow, not someday, but tomorrow. So before we dive in, let me tell you why this work matters so deeply to me. As sisters had mentioned, like I've been in the product space for over a decade, and I'm a founder of OptimFive and a wellness advocate. But here is the one thing rather than the credentials only tell you one part of the story. But a few years ago, I watched someone that I love deeply struggle to care for their aging parent. The stress was crushing them. And when I asked them what happened, why don't you take care of the self mental health care? Their anxiety was through the roof. They said, Sandhya, I don't have time to do that. So when I asked if they talked to anyone about it, do you know what they said? They said, like, who would I talk to? This is just what you do. You take care of your family. That moment gave me insights that made me think, what can I do to fill in this gap? Especially where the stigma is there to reach out to a mental health professional. So, based on my neuroscience training and from psychology, like with the psychology background, it's almost I felt like the person is in crisis in a slow motion mode. So, I've started OptimFive. That is a caregiver support platform, especially for families navigating autism, neurodevelopmental challenges, and supporting parents who have Alzheimer's and dementia. And here is what makes it different, it's localized in Telugu. Because here is what I learned, when someone is drowning in stress, they don't want to translate their feelings in English and research. So I believe it's important to have the content available in our localized language. So they want their support in English, in Telugu. That's the language they think, they feel the emotions. So building OptimFive taught me three things. The first thing is the struggles are valid. Even if no one else see them, the caregiver I mentioned, from the outside they looked fine, like most of us. But inside we are fighting a big battle. And the second lesson is small, consistent changes over a period of time compound over time. So we didn't transform their well being overnight. We started with 1 5-minute practice that changed everything. And the third thing is we can't pour from an empty cup. So it's important for us to nourish and keep balanced state in order to give it to others. So with these three core pillars, I started OptimFive. And I'm not bringing this approach just for theory, but I also built a practical tools to support the caregiver network. And here I am today. The same principles apply to the student community, to a working mom, stay-at-home mom, to everyone. I've realized that when Sister Lavanya said this is an important core part of our ecosystem, Maris Stella College, then I figured out let me build something around this in order to support our student community. Because day in and day out, we face struggles within the families, with the communities, with everyone around us. But we can't express that. So, how do we handle those in silence? We have tools for that. And today's session is focused on that. So, here in this, on this slide, talks a little bit about my background. But just look at the numbers, how if you look at it, the 69%, 9% Indian college students experience moderate to high anxiety. That's a startling number. And 59.9% experience high depression. And 65% report emotional loss of emotional control, which is significant because if our emotions are not within control, then it's hard to decide. It's hard to make a difference in this world. So let that sink in. The numbers, it's not a small group. This is most of us here. So, but the startling factor here is what is surprising thing is only 10% seek professional help. That is 1 in 10 people going through this phase, difficult phase, they reach out to support. So, why do you think that is? Like stigma, fear, or cost of accessing? There might be multimodal approach because these are combined also could be the problem. But today we are here today to build your foundation, give you tools that work. So 6 months from now, you can say, I feel like myself again. So that is the goal of our today's session. With that, I would like to present the roadmap for our today's session, which is we are going to cover some key topics here. We'll explore what's happening in your brain and body when anxiety hits, when perfectionism freezes you. Because when you understand the why, the how makes sense. Second thing is, this is the heart of our majority of our time together, is practical evidence-based strategies you can implement immediately. Third thing is, what actually changes when you implement these strategies. We always love to see the before and after. So I'm also going to present that what happens within if we practice this on a daily basis. How does it look now versus after 3 months of practicing these? Think of today as we are assembling your mental health toolkit and my mental health toolkit because it's a work in progress all the time. You don't need to use every tool, but remembering one tool when we need it is very crucial. So let's start with the big one: anxiety and academic pressure. Everyone in this room can resonate with this feeling. Anxiety is your brain's alarm system working overtime. It's persistent worry, racing thoughts, and physical emotion. Some people also experience rapid heartbeat, sweating. Especially for women, this is amplified by three factors. The first thing is hormonal fluctuations. Menstrual cycle affects the stress levels, which directly impacts anxiety. Two, social comparison. Comparison happens everywhere. It also happens within our own home. So, especially with social media, you're constantly seeing everyone's best moments while living your own behind the scenes struggle. Three, academic and family pressure. So, this is a huge thing in our culture. You're expected to excel academically, land a prestigious job, make your family proud, and maybe get married at the right time, all while maintaining the perfect mental health. So, this is no pressure, right? I mean, combining all these things at the same time, like a magic person should evolve. That's not the real world. But here is what anxiety does it in short term. You see the list on the left here: poor concentration, memory, and also reduced academic performance. Also, we tend to make really less friends because we can't match with their ideal state. So, the important thing here is the long term implications is it impacts our stress, more doctor visits, and there's burnout and the missed opportunities. Finally, it also impacts at the foundation level, it damages the relationships. So, I want you to hear this. If you're experiencing this anxiety, it's doing exactly, your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do: protect you from threats. So that's why you experience all the things that we just discussed. The problem is your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. So you can see your brain responds to a tiger in a similar fashion. Then if you think a tiger might come, it also experiences the same level of threat. So our job is to teach the brain is, hey, I see you, you're trying to protect me, but I'm actually safe here right now. So let's calm down together. That's what we are here today for. So how do we build that? And in the next slide, the main important thing we are covering here is some kind of a tools in our back pocket where we use it when anxiety hits. The things that you see here is a daily morning check-in. These are kind of 4 practices that we'll go through. And a simple daily morning check-in, it helps us to reset our mind. A check-in includes rate your anxiety on a scale of 1 to 10. Write it down and name 3 things you're grateful for every day. They can be really tiny. Maybe I woke up on time and I have my family members around me and my roommate did not snore last night, though if you are living in a hostel. So those might be really small, but they make good impact. with respect to being grateful for what we have. And set 3 realistic goals for the day, not 10. We can have a long list, but just 3 goals that you think, because towards the end of the day, once you accomplish, that gives us motivation to move forward. So, this practice does something powerful. It gives you a baseline, and then tracking these would see like how your journey was when you started on day 1 versus day 30. So, knowledge is power. And the second thing is a box breathing technique, which is daily take about 16 seconds in the morning, which is breathing in 4 counts, hold 4 counts, exhale, and then hold. So just this simple practice. This is, if we do it 4 times a day, it's only 64 seconds. Imagine just by breathing in and then practicing this box breathing will help us to settle down. So here is the neuroscience part of it, which I love to talk about. When you exhale longer than you inhale, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Your rest and digest mode. Your body can be in fight or flight mode all the time. So when you're breathing like this, you reset and you balance your mind. I'll teach you right now. Everyone sit up straight. Take a deep breath. 2, 3, 4. Hold. And then breathe out and then hold again. Just doing that for 16 seconds every day in the morning resets us. And also the thing is the scheduled worry time is one of my favorite things, because we all have a long list of things or the challenges we face every day. But if we tell our body that every day I'll give you 15 minutes for us to focus on this worry and then complete and then go through that list. So it's the same time every day. We pick 15 minutes and write down all the things that we are worrying about and also the challenges. So that tells that mind like every day Sandhya sits at 4 p.m. and then she spends about 15 minutes and write down all the challenges that she's been facing. So that gives me time rather than worrying throughout the day. It gives me time to schedule that and focus on that specific activity. And finally, the last thing is the movement breaks, which is walk 10 minutes after the meals or even basic stretching. Those, any form of movement, gentle neck stretches, all those would also help to reset our nervous system. And then moving on to the next, we all know that how good we are sleeping with the digital devices around us and a lot of influencing factors. The crisis here is 55 to 74% of students have poor sleep quality. Why is it happening? Because emotional regulation is one of the important things and stabilizing our mood. So the key thing here is how many of you have pulled an all-nighter this semester? I can see probably like 60 to 70% of the students have pulled it. But does it feel good after the next day? It never feels good. I used to do that when I was studying, when I did my master's. Next day is like I'm really, I have high levels of anxiety. And also, my immune system also used to be really low. But the important thing here is we can have some strategies to support that. So the truth is, if we learn how to manage our sleep and improve our environment, it helps improve our memory and also our emotion regulation. Also, we have better path to focus on the positive things in life. And let me tell you about a student that I worked on who she was like putting in all nights every week because she didn't prepare for her exams early on. So she said, Sandhya, I'm facing all these. I have insomnia. I can't fall asleep. My brain won't shut off. I asked her, what's your nighttime routine? And then she said, I study until midnight and then scroll Instagram until I feel tired and then try to sleep. So that's where the problem is. So I gently explained, you don't have insomnia, you have terrible sleep hygiene. So we fixed it. We did some of the strategies that are mentioned here, and it helped her tremendously. And she planned her day way ahead of time. And 2 weeks later, she came to me and she said, yeah, I have my 5-10 minutes of daily sleep routine, sleep ritual, where I balance my mind, meditate, or think about what I'm grateful for. And her sleep level, her sleep improvements have gone up really high, and she was academically also successful. I think everybody in this room, and also including myself, can use all these things on a daily basis, or at least one change can make a significant difference. And now we'll move to the next one. This is the elephant in the room, like the digital addiction and the healthy tech habits. So, how to cultivate the healthy tech habits? So, I've based on my research, how many hours a day do you think people spend on phone? I was startled because the average person spends about 7 hours. I was startled 6 years ago, but now it's more than that. It's like 9 to 10 hours. So that's more than our active hours at school, at college, or spending time with the family. Combining all these, we spend more time on our phone. So, and also more than sleeping time. So it's important for us to tackle this early on when we realize that we are spending 8 hours, 9 hours per day on the phone. How do we handle that? How do we set some limitations or boundaries around that? So every time you see a notification, our brain goes through a kind of a quick treat type of thing, which is called dopamine. And this is the reward chemical. Your brain starts craving for those hits. So you keep on scrolling. So that's what happens. Like we get reward right after we see a reel. So we just feel good. And then we see the next reel. So the result is our attention span is impacted. So almost like a goldfish attention span, like which is shorter than a goldfish. So you're constantly comparing yourself to others and feeling inadequate. So this is something to tackle in this day and age. We are always pulled in different directions, and especially digital is the main component of it. I recommend within like my research, and also I've also done some research for this specific presentation. Like there are three things that we can do. One is to create a phone free zone. So don't bring phones to your bedroom, and also keep it next to you when you're eating, scrolling and eating. It causes another bad eating habits. So it's important to put the phone away and then create a phone free zone. And I personally do phone free times, like certain times in the evening when I spend time with the family. I have phone free time where I give that time to my family, and we all spend on something talking about how our day was. So that reduces my stress level. And I believe some of you can also do something similar to this, like phone free time, allocate that, put it in your schedule, and also changing the settings to something more like a grayscale or disable all non essential notifications. And here is the challenge. The biggest challenge, which I'll be taking soon, is the 24-hour digital detox. So pick one day this week, delete all your social media apps or disable for a time period, and then see how your body responds. It's almost like when we stop eating sugar, how we feel. Our body feels the same thing. Like we reach out to the phone, but all the things are disabled. So what do we do? So we observe those patterns. And then here is the main thing that we've seen in our lives, somebody going through the depression, or we don't even know if we are going through a sad phase in our own lives, that something is different and something is not improving. So here I talk about like some daily strategies that we can incorporate into our lives. And depression isn't just a sadness, it's just having a bad day or feeling down after a disappointment. Depression is persistent, it continues, it's overwhelming. Even everything, if everything goes well in our life, we still feel there's emptiness. We still feel that we are not sufficient. So that is how it feels. And if anybody experiences this over a period of 2 or 3 weeks, we have to pay really close attention to the signals. Persistent sadness, numbness to emotions, and loss of interest in things that we used to love. And sometimes we also get irritated or angry. There's no reason, but we just feel those emotions, including all these. So the cognitive science includes like we have difficulty concentrating and we read the same thing 10 times, but nothing processes in our mind. It doesn't stick in our mind. So if if you are experiencing or anybody that you know experiencing, please pay attention and reach out to the right sources. And some of the daily strategies that help with these kind of scenarios include, as I mentioned here, I'm not a mental health counselor, but I've seen during my training at King's that it's really important, like some small things that's within our control, like sunlight exposure, movement, and social connections. So even one conversation a day with your best friend or with the person that who brings you energy, it gives you some form of inner stability. And then a structure, as we've just discussed about having a digital free zone, some form of structure to our routine. Even during holidays, we can structure our days. I structure my weekends regularly to have certain things. Even fun time is also structured, but it could be uh, something that you, however you want, you can structure your days. That is a crucial thing. And journaling. Write 3 things that you did today rather than things that you are not able to accomplish. And then emotional regulation. So this is something, this is the main thing, this is the heart of this presentation is how do we regulate our emotions? Because if we learn to how to do that, the rest of the things would follow. I am a big fan of the Pomodoro technique, which is like when I study, when I do certain work, I allocate 25 minutes to focus on that specific task. And then there's also list of things that I have in our mind. I usually put it on a piece of paper. So I'm not overwhelmed with those thoughts all the time. So I'm covering really high level items here. But the important thing is each one of these, I can talk about each one of these slides in detail for about 40 minutes or more than that. But today, because we have limited time, I'm just going through this at a very high level. And the other thing is like moving on to the habits and the compound effect. I am a big believer in rather than waiting for the right time, doing small changes regularly would make a big difference in our life. Consistency is the key to success. Even making 1% progress on the activity that you want to accomplish, doing it regularly would improve towards the end of the year. You improved like 37x. So you're better in that skill 30 times, 37 times more than when you started. So that's how powerful it is. Think about things that you always wanted to do writing, reading, or singing, whatever you think. Like you like to develop a skill, just start with 1%, allocate 5 minutes on day one, and then slowly build on top of that. That's how powerful you'll be. You'll be 37 times better towards the end of the year. So that is the reason why it's super important to build habits which would lead to a compound effect towards the end of a specific time frame. And here, this is another perfectionism. This is a area where we are always caught up with I want to wait for the perfect conditions in order to move forward. And the perfect conditions never come through. So we always think about that. Like, I want to write this paper and I want it to be the best paper. And then we miss the deadline. So, what is important is just take that one step, like we discussed, and then move forward. It's important to move, to take one step at a time to move forward in the direction. So, perfectionism is present in the myth world. So, there you can be perfect only if you learn to take steps towards that. It could be even time boxing and working on the thing that you want to do if you are planning to write a paper or build a skill. So when I was building OptimFive, I was really overwhelmed because I was trying to build a product, implement in Telugu, and understanding the caregiver challenges. Sometimes it was emotional too, hearing their stories. What can I do to help them and maintain my own well being? So then I implemented one habit. Every morning, 5 minutes, I take time to decompress, just take time to rate my energy and set my top three priorities for the day. And I started doing that rather than having 50 items, those three things, if I accomplish that day, that would call my day as successful. So that's what I did. And 2 months later, that one habit has cascaded into better sleep, better nutrition, and better focus, all from those 5 minutes. That's how powerful habits are. And then here, most of the, like for women, it's so important to understand our hormonal cycles and also the emotions that we go through different phases during this entire month period. So it's better for us to keep track of it because there are different phases that we go through. And each phase, we have our energy levels differ. So it's important to consider those during our regular routines and then fill in what you can do, how your mind responds. For example, the follicular phase where our energy is really high, and we can, our social, any type of social activities and interactions, presentations, and all those we do good. Our world is not idle. We may not always be able to schedule around these, but being aware and understanding all these phases are very important. It's not just a biology or hormones, but if we work with it, then it would also help us manage our emotions in a better way. And the body image and confidence, we always look at this, like the social media, we look at everyone's best version and we think we are not good. But the important thing is who is saying that? We are telling ourselves the same story. We are telling ourselves the story. It's not somebody saying that, but we are telling it. So it's important to change what we tell ourselves. We need to be kind with ourselves. So just remember when you try to judge yourself, be kind and think what you're grateful for. So, social media, all these activities like the phone, the distractions, and all those, if we kind of compartmentalize that to a specific time frame, we don't waste our whole day trying to find and feel somebody's success and then compare our life with others. So this is an important thing, especially living here for almost for 25 years. I've seen how important support system and communication is. So here there are three circles. The inner circle is the people that we can share everything. So it's our close friend, it's our mom, or whoever that person is in your life. So you can tell them that I'm going through a tough time. Can we take a couple of minutes? So they are the ones who would drop what they're doing and give you those 5 minutes. So that is the inner circle I'm talking about. We all need to build our own inner circle. And the second circle is the middle circle, our support system, our professors, our especially our extended family, or whoever that falls into this category. So they are the ones, they may be also professionals, but you can discuss how you can accommodate your life in order to support. And finally, the counselor. Once it gets out of our own wisdom state, or our family or the inner friend, if they're not able to support, then there is no problem in reaching out to a counselor or reaching out to somebody who is specialized in that area. And we don't need to carry that stigma. It's important for us to feel better so that our environment feels better around us. And finally, this is something at initial stage I mentioned.
Yeah.
How does change? Because Sandhya, you've shared all these things, so many techniques and tactics. But what do I do? I mean, how does it look like? At least implementing one or two. So you look at the before and after. The before, we are struggling, we don't have tools in our hand. We think I'm the only person who is going through all these problems. But after you implement at least one or two things from what we've discussed, it would change the way, with over a span of like 3 months, everything changes and it builds incrementally. So you look at the timeline here, in 2 to 6 weeks, you see the initial changes, and 3 to 6 months for significant transformation. So I hope this brings some motivation, and this is very close to my heart, because look at the struggling phase to thriving phase. And these are some truths that we always, the important thing is, it's okay to rest. People think we need to hustle nowadays and work a lot, but sometimes, even rather than working 2 hours with disruptions, it's important to focus on a specific task for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. So these are some of the truths that I believe. And one of the key things that's very important thing for me is small consistent changes creates massive impact. So that's what my OptimFive is, and balance zone. That's how I started those two companies. And here, finally, as I mentioned, the core thing is you don't need to remember each and everything, but select what works for you in your life that kind of matches with your wavelength, and take action. Choose one practice, take action, and start tomorrow. And then also schedule a self care time for yourself on a weekly basis, where you learn about your emotions, why you're getting angry, and how you can improve. Just sitting with ourselves or discussing with your close friend might help you. So I will leave it up for questions. I hope I did not go really fast, but uh, some of these tools, I believe, if it even helps one or two members who attended this seminar, I would be really thrilled. So, Sister Lavanya, anybody has questions, please feel free to open up the floor for
Yes, yes.
the students.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandhya ma'am. This has been truly an enlightening and enriching session. According to me, I mean, as I was listening, I am touched by some of these points. You have mentioned that balance is something you journey with, it is not a destination.
Yeah.
And from your research or whatever, from research publications, you have mentioned only 10% seek real professional help and others keep struggling. And you have touched upon those 10 aspects, anxiety, academic pressure, and strategies. I like that gratitude, writing some 3 things that one is grateful for, and also that movement break. I used to now and then do this breathing exercise that you have mentioned. And you have really touched upon very, very relevant aspects that each of us is facing. It is not limited to just students, the youngsters. In fact, all these issues are very much common among us. We are all struggling with. And I think this your session is simply so helpful. And so with these few words, I would like to open the floor for question and answers. I request the faculty or the students, whoever has some doubts, please, you may either post in the chat box or you can unmute your audio and post questions. Floor is open, dear faculty. Indra ma'am, do you
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Good morning, Ms. Sandhya. Thank you for a very insightful session. I hope I'm audible, sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good morning, Sandhya ma'am. Thank you for the insightful session. I have a few questions to ask, not one, but a few. I don't know how apt they are, but I thought like you would be the right person to answer this. So one thing, like I just want to see, like how do you identify, what could you think that can be one early warning signal kind of thing to identify a person who has an imbalanced emotional well-being? One early warning signal kind of thing.
One early morning, these are multimodal approaches, ma'am. So
Okay.
it's not just one signal, but over a period of time. And
Okay.
sometimes it also happens that they have intense focus on one thing, but they don't get connect to their emotions and they can't process other people emotions. That's what the social media uh, addiction is. The problem is we lot of people who are using social media, they don't like to connect with their internal emotions sometimes. In order to mask that, they keep on spending more time. It could be social media or any type, any form of distraction. So I'm not saying social media also does good things, but one of the things that people try to is they like watching other people go through things because they want to forget their pain. So they don't connect with their internal emotions. And specifically, like what you asked, what is one thing? I think there could be a form of continuous stress that you can observe, a long term stress the person is going through. So there are different ways how this could be detected. So it's not one modality. It could be the pressure that they go through, even getting stressed out for some simple things. It may be simple for us, but it's big for them. It's like a mountain for them. For us, we think, oh, this is a small thing we can do, right? So those are and if you go through a counseling path, they have a specific set of questions they ask. They look at the overall ecosystem of that person, ma'am.
Yeah, but that is the case when you observe the person for a very long time for having an imbalance. But actually, this question came out of my own experience, ma'am, where I lost one of my very best friends. Like she wanted to talk to me, but I did not have enough time. As you said in the beginning of your talk, that people are emotionally stressed out because they could not talk to anyone who could hear their pain when they speak it out. So the same thing happened with me. I could not fetch her enough time. So this is what happened. And when I lost her, I was told that she had a very imbalanced emotional, like she had an emotional burnout kind of thing, and it was just because nobody spoke to her or allowed her to speak whatever she wanted to. So that is why we lost. So I was just thinking, like, is there anything that we can identify when they are very much normal to us, even they are not,
Yeah.
they don't look stressed out, or they don't show any signals of not being so very balanced emotionally?
Yeah, I think it's important, especially when they are really close. Even whatever our life is, even our lives could be challenging, but giving them 5 minutes and understanding, is there something that's really important that we can talk right now? So give them even 5 minutes time, they
Yes.
would just open up. I heard an interview, like it's a Simon Sinek, I believe. He mentioned about a story in one of the interviews that his close friend reached out to him like multiple times, and he didn't. I mean, something along the story that you mentioned, ma'am. But she said, like, even giving those 5 minutes time, checking in quickly to see, are
Yeah.
you doing okay?
Okay.
And
Yes.
that might also open up the conversation. Then you can
Yes.
give your time when you have free time. So those
Yes.
are some
Yes.
strategies. Yeah.
Yeah. Ma'am, I have one more question. Out of your experience, when you have come across so many people, like, what did you feel to be the most hardest truth for people to accept that they have an imbalance, emotional imbalance, or they are not doing so good or by their mental health? What do you think is the very hardest thing for people to accept when you tell them that they are not doing emotionally good or they have an imbalance?
I think culturally speaking, I've talked to parents who work with, who have kids with different abilities. So the thing is, they think they are doing fine, but the problem is they kind of pile up everything on top of each other. So the pressure that all the home activities or the therapy activities that they pile up and they do those excellently. So they think I'm doing all these things. So why are you thinking I'm not doing well? Right? So accepting that is very difficult for them because they help serve everybody, all the people around them, but they don't serve themselves. So
Yeah.
the reason why it's difficult for them is because if they are missing in the whole ecosystem, then everybody, there'll be nobody who will take care of their son or daughter who are going through those
Yeah.
changes. So sometimes
Yes.
due to family responsibilities or even fathers go through this because I've seen recently, yeah, many people are going through really difficult heart problems because of they're not able to express themselves. They work, and they think like they're doing okay. They don't focus on what's going on internally with my body. How is my heart and body is organs functioning? And they don't even get the test done because they think it's the pressure, work pressure, and all that. So there would be different places, but I think accepting is we always put our family and our responsibilities top on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I hope,
Yeah,
I
ma'am,
mean, I
one more
gave you
question.
these
I'm sorry.
insights. Yeah.
What do you think? Like over the period of time, we have observed that all these things of stress, depression, and mental imbalance have become a common terminology these days, unlike in the previous years. I don't know if it was unnoticed or are we paying too much attention to it? I'm not so clear. But what do you think as parents we should take care right from the beginning, in like with respect to our children's brought up, so that they generally do not get into being emotionally stressed out? Being working for long hours, staying away from children, spending very little time with children. So, how do you think a mother or the family can altogether bring out a small change in the child's well being in terms of their emotional well being?
I think it's the important thing is we have to work on ourselves rather than giving it to others. So once we are balanced state, even if we spend 15 minutes with our child, that's a good quality time. So we don't
Yes.
need to think like we are not giving them an hour every day or 2 hours every day after they come back from school. But the time that we spend, the 15 minutes we spend, if we are coming from more an abundant state, like the analogy that I gave you, we can't give if our cup is empty, right? We need to fill our cup. So we need to be nourished and we need to take care of ourselves. And that 15 minutes would brighten up them and would also make them, you can play or do whatever they like. So we are open to ideas, open to give them love and uh, what affection that they need at that point in time.
Yeah, quality time, you mean. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Madam, there are two questions on chat box. How can one manage one's own well-being and secondary trauma while dealing with difficult student situations? And what advice do you have for teachers? Hemashri is asking this question, Miss Hemashri.
Some of the hi Himashri ma'am, I've had multiple interactions with her. So uh, the crucial thing is self-care activity. I would put first self-care activities as a top priority, like we discussed, like take that 5 minute breaks, get some movement and all. So that would help us uh, handle the our emotions and regulate our emotions in a better phase, because once we come from that state, it helps us to deal with the challenges outside. So I would personally, I have my own emotional balance state. There's like 5-10 minutes I spend every day in the morning and before going to bed. So setting those timings, and it doesn't have to be some members that I see, they don't like to have structure, but it all depends on the person. but I prefer structure. And the reason being, setting those 5-10 minutes, that's my time where I balance my emotions, and any form of anxiety or the challenges, trauma that happened in my life, those things could be managed efficiently, or we can handle the emotions efficiently, notice them, and react before reacting without thinking. Noticing that gap between the stimulus and response, if we identify that gap, and we have the power to react how we want to react, how we want to respond. So I would sit in that gap zone. When something happens to you, just think, do I have to respond right away, or what are the options I have, and then respond. So once you take that minute, I think our response would be much better. So that's one way to handle. At least I'm one of the strategies. More from a general perspective, counselors might have different ways, but that's one way. And then handling the challenging students, I it's primarily around why they are facing those challenges. Is it because the subject is tough? Identifying the root cause would always give us a lot of information. And once we identify that in that root cause, we can devise specific plan to move towards that direction. For example, the student is not understanding the concept, then that concept can be taught, or there could be YouTube or Khan Academy or other resources where they can explore and learn, or even sitting in the library. So, or they are always distracted because their mind is unable to settle down. Identifying those scenarios, we can recommend or propose some things that worked in our life, or we can do a quick research and identify some of the things that we just discussed today. Those things apply to the challenging students, to the not challenging students, but the students who are going through those challenges, and they are dealing with their own emotions. So it's multifaceted, but these are some strategies that could be useful.
Ma'am, there are some hand raised, some students. Nancy, can you unmute yourself and please pose your question?
Yes, sister. Yeah, am I audible, sister?
Yes, yes. Please go on.
Yeah, I have a small question, ma'am, to you. And yeah, in a, a in overwhelmed situations like heavy responsibilities and handling the studies and the other stuff, what's that one thing we can say or do for ourselves, um, for putting that anxiety down, for a moment, at least for uh, few minutes. Like what can we like say for ourselves, say or do for ourselves, like putting that anxiety down in a minute or five.
There are a couple of things that could be done. First thing is just being in the present moment, like the box breathing that Sister Lavanya has mentioned, the general breathing, paying attention to our breathing. So, and this box breathing, it's more from a neuroscience perspective, where inhaling and then exhaling more than inhale. Inhale like probably 4, 8, and 4. So four counts you take in, and then 8 counts you breathe out, and in between there is a whole state. So these are some box breathing is one thing, and then the brain dump, that is something that I like. So what that means in simple terms is, take a piece of paper, write down all the things that comes on your mind. So, and then there would be top 3 things that you can select out of that. So I would do that on a weekly basis, because I have 50, 60 things that to do things with respect to family or my business and all. So, and then I select for each area what are the top 3 things. If I do the next week, that would make a big difference. Sometimes we can even do it daily, and that helps to lower our stress, lower our anxiety, and then have a clear picture at what those things are. So those are a couple of strategies, ma'am, that you could implement. And some of the things I will share this presentation also. So if you can also pick and choose, as I mentioned, like here, it's like select one habit, and sometimes that habit would have a ripple effect across all the areas of your life too.
Then Chandana is there. She also has raised a hand. Chandana, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, Just a second, sister. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you so much, Sandhya ma'am. I'm a student come teacher from Maris Stella, studying in Maris Stella, and this session was really insightful. And for a hard, like busy student like me, it helps a lot. Thank you so much. Your words really spoke to my mind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I really appreciate it.
Good, Nancy. Chandana, please.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, Chandana, please go on.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Chandana from second year forensic. If it's okay, I would like to ask three questions, which is something I faced in my daily life.
Sure.
Like my question number one is, you mentioned about issues, ma'am. Like in your experience, do you think college students like us have to concentrate more on prioritizing sleep quality or sleep consistency? Like in which way do you think it influences our mental strength more?
Quality and consistency both go hand in hand, because if we are not consistent, the quality will deteriorate. If we don't have quality, then consistency doesn't exist, right? So they both go hand in hand. For example, like if we set schedule like at 10 p.m. every day I go to bed, but there are certain things that help us to lead towards that. So, things that you do before you go to bed, you also have to switch off. I usually switch off my phone 2 hours before I go to bed. So, that helps me just to not to have so many things on my mind before going to bed. Sometimes that's not possible. Then what do we do? Does a mental reset like 5 minute deep breathing exercise help you? You just have to experiment and figure out some things like as I'm displaying on the screen, like these are some things that would help for us, like a cool dark room and screens off. And at the same time, I also believe, why is sleep important for you? Ask yourself that. And what how can you make it into a productive sleep? When I say productive, you get that well rested sleep. So, because our brain, in order for it to be effective, sleep is really crucial for our productivity, for our mental state, and it has a lot of benefits through all the systems in the body reset and refresh during this period. So, as a student, it is really important, but there may be 100 things on your calendar, things that's happening at the back of your mind. But sometimes you just have to prioritize and see what you can do. What is for tomorrow? Planning your day for tomorrow would also help.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And my one more concern is like considering the fast running world that we are living right now, technology has been basically inculcated into our daily life schedules. So, how do you propose a young teenagers like us constantly reshape their brains to reduce technology, like without feeling socially disconnected?
Yeah, I think I worked in the AI space for a long time, and especially my OptimFive is based on the AI platform too. So I know there's an evolving need, and every day something new happens in the AI space or in the technology in general. So it's important for us to understand this, how to manage these. What are the things that you want to learn within the technical space? Are you spending the time to get distracted, or are you distracted by this information, or is that feeding something towards your goals? So once you ask that question, your the things that you do with respect to technology, they funnel through really well, because you have this big funnel at the top. You put all the things, but you have a filter. Let's say that filter will say, is this helpful for my education, or am I just watching it for the sake of getting motivation or like that? Because there's a lot of information. So it should go through two, at least minimum 1 to 2 filter cycle. If this is good for education, what can I do right now within this 30 minutes block I have? What do I need to watch? Like this YouTube video? Or do I need to watch an interview by some person, right? So that is the filter mechanism we have to internally create, which would help us funnel through our thoughts or our feed into more a streamlined process.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Well,
I
wow.
hope this is
Thank you.
helpful. These things are because these
Definitely,
are,
ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am,
My
this one.
last question, ma'am. Like me being an ICUF member, I always strive to keep the pot boiling, like for a good cause like this. Like most social programs lose momentum over time. So, what, in your point of view, do you propose as the key factors that will sustain the movement like over years, not just for a few weeks or so?
So are you mentioning about the continuation of learning things or all these type of support activities or
Yes, ma'am. Like, how do I propose other students to get into good cause movements like this continuously?
Like
yeah,
community service learning, she's meaning. ICAF does lot of those things, madam.
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
okay. So it's about I think we have to there should be a personal spin to everything. Why is this important? So for example, like some universities, like students even here, they have, if they do some volunteer activities, they would get certain credits or something towards their education or some form
Yeah.
of benefit. So that would be an initial way to motivate people, but in order to keep them throughout that process be engaged and participate, I think the important thing is conducting a regular activities, like for example, to motivate and nurture those things. For example, 1 month you can do an outreach. The second month you can reach out to people and see, have a roadmap first, and then every month you review that roadmap and show them this progress. So once we see progress, our brain automatically wants to do more of it. And then that is tied to some of the benefits that they would get through the college or through some form of community service, which could be utilized towards their education experience, like a volunteer, right? Volunteer and doing some form of other activities are always helpful. People like that, not just the academic skills, but serving the communities, making a difference, impacting. Because OptimFive, nobody mentioned that, Sandhya, I want you to go and solve this problem. I saw this problem by observing people, where what people are going through. So sometimes just observing and motivating is more, it has to tie to the benefits that the students could get out of that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Like, this was very helpful and thoughtful for me personally, and your guidance was both awareness, giving awareness and actionable ways to care for our minds. Thank you so much.
Sure.
That's
Happy to.
good, Chacha. And madam, one more question posted on the chat box by Sai Maheshwari. How do we differentiate normal stress from clinical anxiety in oneself?
As we discussed in the depression and or in the anxiety, I think the important thing is identify how long you've been going through this problem. So for example, if you've been experiencing a clinically, I think a textbook approach or certain things, they say 2 weeks or 3 weeks if you go through this, or if there is any self harm. So those are the things that would lead us to reach out to the professional. But I would say, how long have you been going through this and how is it impacting your life activities? Are you able to do things that you are able to do? Or are you always sad and you're not motivated to do anything? So those are some factors we have to observe. Each one of us have to look at what is everybody, they like, people around us, they're all celebrating, but we don't feel like celebrating. So there are some clinical ways of detecting those, and reaching out to a counselor when you're in doubt is always a good idea rather than diagnosing that on our own. So if you are experiencing that persistently, the form of loneliness or not having interest in anything and not able to connect to your feelings regularly, so that's been happening for more than 4 weeks, then it's time 2 or 4 weeks. Like as I mentioned here, it's the critical seek help, unable to perform daily activities. So at that point, you can figure out like, okay, It's time for me just to reach out, talk to a counselor, get more insights, because there's no harm in doing that. I mean, you're helping yourself, and the most of these counselor activities or the meetings, they're all confidential. So it's better to reach out to the right resource.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Indira, ma'am, do you have anything?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have questions, requests to Sandhya and advice to our own college. One is so I appreciate Sandhya providing all these what is solutions in multilingual, that is English and Telugu. That is one, because National Education Policy 2020 talks about everything should be multilingual. So, sister, why can't we have or involve? I don't know whether your time permits or not, Sandhya, because I understand you are so busy. Can we have like how to build curriculum integrated mental health support network, sister? So why is it possible to involve if Sanya's time permits or not? Because I'm available here anytime. We want to develop this as a module, and one suggestion from my side is, sister, why can't we have this like faculty capacity building or workshop kind of thing on cognitive science or neuroscience, what Sandhya was talking about? This is really important and useful. So then only we'll be able to address all these emotional imbalance or stress or burnout or whatever we want. So my request to Sandhya and my advice to sister Lavanya and sister Inyasima, principal, is principal here?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Sure.
yes, sister. Principal is here, Dr. Inyasima. So,
It's a good idea. We will think it over and how we can incorporate this module into our curriculum. We will really discuss about it and try to incorporate it.
and Sandhya, so I'm here to provide support if you want to develop this as a micro course kind of thing, because I'm an e-learning expert. So that is one thing. And if you want to develop this as an open textbook with interactive content, with enriching using multimedia content kind of thing. So I'm available not only for Maris Stella College, for any student if you want to have more outreach kind of thing across India. So across India, we need this. So not only for Maris Stella, so across India, not only across India, across globally, this is the needed initiative. If your time permits, I'm available. I'm also overloaded, but I feel this is my individual social responsibility. So I always motivate myself with that.
Yes.
Sure, ma'am. So we can probably reconnect um, and look at some options, because it's important, as you mentioned, every student or any person, I would say, nowadays, we're all going through these challenging times because of the system overload or in general about life. So definitely I would love to. And as like the founder of OptimFive, it's also important for me just to figure out how that could be expanded to areas where it can be reached. For example, after I built OptimFive, like I started thinking about how do actually people know about this, right? OptimFive, even in Andhra Pradesh or in Telangana. So people there, I'm part of many groups where the parents have children with multiple disabilities, and they don't even know these type of scenarios. These exist. So definitely, even for mental health, I'm open to do that. It's about coordinating timings and making sure how to put the proposal in with the principals and Sister Lavanya's. We can do a more targeted session around this and discuss what are the options.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sandhya ma'am has already actually come forward to do one-on-one session like this for our students or staff, whoever wants. She actually volunteered. And because of various programs we have not discussed in the college, we only discussed at a dean's level, Madam Indira ma'am. So definitely that's a good idea. Without knowing, you in fact proposed, which is in alignment with Sandhya ma'am's vision and
Yes,
mission for company. So thank you very much, dear staff and students, for that wonderful, thoughtful Q&A session and enriching responses by Sandhya Madam. We have come to the end of this webinar. I now invite Captain Shailaja, Department of History, to propose the formal vote of thanks. Shailaja, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sister, am I audible?
Yes.
Esteemed Principal, Dr. Sister Inyasamma, EMSA President, Dr. Indra Koneru, Resource Person, Ms. Sandhya, Dr. Sister Lavanya, EMSA Coordinator, distinguished guests, faculty, alumni, and participants on Zoom and YouTube Live. On behalf of Maris Stella Alumni Association, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for making this webinar on Balanced Mind Journey your foundation for real world success, a resounding success. A special thanks to our inspiring resource person, Ms. Sandhya ma'am, for her enlightening session and valuable insights that will guide us toward balanced living and real world achievements. We are deeply grateful to our principal, Dr. Sister Inyasamma, for her gracious greetings. EMSA President, Dr. Indra Koneru, for her warm welcome. Dr. Sister Lavanya for her seamless coordination. Our sincere thanks to all participants for your active engagement, thoughtful questions during the question and answer, and for joining us from across the globe. To the technical team, Maris Stella College management, and EMSA volunteers, your behind the scenes efforts ensured a smooth experience. Let us carry forward the wisdom shared today to build balanced minds and successful futures. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Shailaja.
Sandhya.
Thank you. It's
Yes.
been a wonderful session, ma'am, because uh, even the engagement rate is really high. A lot of great questions. So thank you all. And I hope after this session, one of the things that I mentioned to um, that we discussed with Hemashri ma'am and also with Sister Lavanya is like, would love to know your feedback on how this is and then what topics that you really care about. Because my goal is, as part of my life journey, I want to give back to the community on a regular basis and also the college that found me, like Maris Stella College. So tremendously. I had great support and relationship with Little Flower Madam, our physics department, previous physics department head, and also with the principals prior when I joined. I had such a great, wonderful experience because I truly believe that Mary Stella provides that overall holistic education, not just look at a specific component on how to grow a student just academically, but also it looks at the broader spectrum and make the students ready for the real world. So that is something that motivates me to take it forward and give back to the community.
It's really nice, ma'am. We are proud of you as our alumna, as our name goes, Maris Stella, Star of the Sea. Every Maris Stellite shining, and you are one of those truly shining across the globe. So we are proud of you and we are delighted to really work with you as Indira ma'am proposed. So definitely we'll streamline it, try to come out with some kind of a structured program which can be shared with others as well. So thank you once again for this very, very relevant and meaningful session that we have had. And I request the staff and students tomorrow or tonight, I will post the feedback link that is Google form. Request you all to please fill out that form. Once again, my heartfelt appreciation to Dr. Indira Koneru for sparing her valuable time and real encouragement and also Dr. Sistrinia Semma for her ever availability and encouragement. And we are all, of course, our alumni of Maris Stella, and all the faculty who have joined us online as well as YouTube Live, and our dear students. And you've been very, very active. We feel very enriched. I mean, we feel grateful that you are doing well, able to think for yourself. And other EMSA executive body members and other alumni, thank you very much, each and every one of you who joined us online for this session. So let's close this with these lines. Stay balanced, stay hopeful, and keep growing. Thank you, one and all. Have a peaceful evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sisters.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you, ma'am. Indira ma'am, are you not coming to college?
She left, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandhya ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
We'll have a quick chat. Yeah, thanks.